Man, y'all, Us. Us by Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele is simply amazing. And he should be applauded. He should be applauded for his ability to weave social commentary into these thrilling stories. These thrilling stories that he brings to life with vivid imagery and these duality, like these underlying meanings behind the plots of his movies. Us in particular, oh my God. Y'all, it's really like when I was in the theater, I wasn't really like certain things didn't hit me as it did when I left the theater. And I was left thinking about the things that played out in the movie. When I left the movie theater, I really started thinking about stuff and I'm like, wow, that was crazy that this happened. That so many revelations came across me and came like certain things clicked in my head that I felt like I should have noticed beforehand, especially by the end of the movie. Certain things that just flew over my head I never realized. For one, this movie here, Us, it is about, in particular, it's about a family. Now, if y'all seen the movie, it's a family that is attacked by doppelgangers. The exact is carbon copies of themselves. And in the movie, you have a young woman named Adeline. Is it Adeline? Adeline? When she was younger, she had a traumatic experience while she was in a fun house at a carnival on a beach where she lived in her hometown, right? And she sees a young lady that is the exact reflection of her. And it wasn't the exact image of her. She looks exactly like her. It's not her reflection, though. How does she know it's not a reflection? Because the young girl was turned around while she's looking in the mirror. She's seeing the back of her head, and she's like, I know that's not my reflection at this point. And something traumatic happens to her in this film. We come to find out that Adeline, the real Adeline, was switched out at that point. She was switched out at a young age, and she was replaced by the doppelganger version. The doppelganger version takes Adeline down to the underworld, down the rabbit hole, quote unquote. That's where all the rabbits are. And I love Jordan Peele's imagery with the rabbits, the symbolism with the rabbits, because rabbits were the first organisms to be successfully cloned in the world. So anyway, so the real Adeline goes to live in the underworld, the rabbit hole, and the fake one comes to live in regular society, which explains why Adeline, when she first went missing for 15 minutes, and the family were explaining like to the doctor, they was explaining like, my daughter can't talk. She can't talk. The mother even says, that's not my daughter. She's not herself. She can't talk. She can't communicate with us. She couldn't communicate because, as you see, the other individuals who were doppelgangers, when they came to attack the family, they couldn't speak either. They couldn't speak down there in the rabbit hole. They could not speak at all. Adeline learned to speak as she was living amongst real people. She was living amongst the real Adeline's parents, probably going to school. She learned to speak then. But when she first came up, she could not speak at all, which explains why people thought, and me personally, I thought she just wasn't speaking as a child because she had a traumatic experience. No, she wasn't speaking because she could not speak at all. Other instances that I felt like I should have known that wasn't the real Adeline. You had moments where she just blatantly, like, she just goes into a freak panic attack when she thinks her son is missing or something when they're at the beach. She can't find her son and she freaks out tremendously. Now, I know not being able to find out where your child is, it's a very concerning thing. Like, I don't know where my son is, what's going on. But it's like, okay, I'm thinking maybe she thought he drowned in the water. She was not looking in the water for her son. She was looking around the area by the funhouse. And I'm like, I never put two and two together. I'm like, well, maybe she think her son just going to see a reflection or an image. But I'm like, something deeper had to happen in that funhouse for her to be reacting like that, where she don't want her son to go anywhere near it, right? So the truth we come to find out is that probably Adeline, even though she switched out the real Adeline, she didn't want the same thing to occur to the young Jason, her actual son. She didn't want the fake Adeline had a family that she made with real individuals, but with the real husband. But she didn't want her son to receive the same fate that she left the real Adeline to receive. Then we have these instances where after the son, when they come home from the beach, she explains to him, I'm going to stick with me. I'll take care of you. I'll protect you. And she was talking like really robotic, like almost like you notice the inflections in her voice. When the I guess not the accosted, when the doppelgangers come, she has the same inflection in her voice, the robotic inflection that the fake Adeline, well, what we thought was the fake Adeline has, right? But I don't know. It's just like, man, they got similarities between each other. I should have put two and two together. But yeah, man, this movie is much deeper than what's on the surface. Much, much deeper. I got notes on this. We're going to try to just run down the list that I have. So I said that the doppelgangers that are living in the underworld or in the rabbit hole, there are living zombie-like interpretations or carbon copies of the people in the upper class. They mimic their every move and interactions. The people below are living bleak and meaningless lives, while the people up top, above the rabbit hole, are living their dreams. They're living their wildest dreams. They're having fun, living on boats, living in luxury, and living in comfort. The people below represent a symbolism for how the oppressed in society are forced to sheepishly follow the rules of the wealthy while being rendered voiceless or unable to be heard. The tethered version of Adelaide represents the oppressed people who find a way through oppression. They find a way out of it, but forget about where they come from. Hence, she forgot about, all the other people that were down there that were just like her when she got to live a privileged lifestyle that she wasn't used to living. She didn't have to eat the rabbit food anymore or things like that. She was able to live in luxury. She forgot all about the people that were like her. Hence, why when she sees the children, the other people die, the tethered die, like the tethered versions of her children die, she's so remorseful and she seems so impacted by the death because she once was them. She recognizes that once was me or could have been me. She recognizes like, wow, those are individuals who were in the same shoes that I was in, but now I'm living in a life of prominence, right? But yeah, that tethered version of Adelaide represents people that forget about where they come from. While she was living above the rabbit hole and in the upper echelon of society, she took on ideologies of the privileged as she adopted to a life of comfort and convenience. She's living good. She's having a great family, going on boat trips. She's living a luxurious life, and she's left to forget about all the things that happened, when she was in the rabbit hole at that point, right? And so, it's a lot of different points that I see, throughout the film. Also, the real Adelaide, the real one who was taken down and switched out, the formerly privileged Adelaide, she was really privileged only for like a couple of years. She got taken when she was 9 or 10 or something like that. The real Adelaide, the formerly privileged one, discovers what's really going on in society due to her living amongst them and being subjected to the same treatment, the same harsh treatment and living conditions that they are. And she uses her voice to even the score by leading a revolution of the tethered, to seek revenge or get justice or to express what's going on and to express their anger about what's going on, basically, right? And this is one thing I noticed in particular, that the real Adeline, who was living beneath society, who had got switched out, she was the only one that could talk. The other individuals below knew she was different. And so they latched on to her because she could express things that they couldn't express. She had a voice. And it goes back to that saying that he who has the microphone has the loudest voice in the room, because they have the power. But this is what I was thinking about. She was the only one able to talk, so they attached themselves to her. And it kind of reminded me of how politicians are. How some of the biggest leaders in the world, people were attracted to them because they could relay a message for the public that maybe the public couldn't relay so successfully themselves. Either their voice wasn't strong enough or they couldn't articulate themselves in the same way that the person that they picked to be the spokesperson for them could. The real Adelaide was a spokesperson for the oppressed individuals living below the surface, living in the rabbit hole. She was their voice because she was the only one that could talk and communicate to the people above and let them know what's going on and how they're wrong, how they were treated wrong, because the real Adelaide, who we thought was a fake one, she spoke about how she had to eat rabbits and all type, but she was living in nothing of comfort. While the fake Adelaide, who switched her out, she was living a good, great life. This movie is a story of what could happen when the oppressed fight back, and what could happen when a member of the privileged society loses their privilege, aka the real Adelaide. She lost her privilege when she was switched out. And this is what happened when a member of the privileged society loses their privilege and recognizes what happens to oppressed people who don't have a voice or cannot use it. She recognized when she was living below with those people, they didn't have a voice, they could not use it. And so she would be the spokesperson for them. They can latch on to her and she could spew out the ideologies or how they were feeling. And people take to it. And in real life, it's it's crazy how this aligns with like the real world and how the social commentary within it. People follow people who express things that they can't express. People can blindly follow you if they feel like, you're just a powerful voice, and you have an ability to relay what you speak for them in some type of way that they cannot say or they can't transfer to the public, which is why we vote for the people we vote for in politics and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, they just attach themselves to someone who speaks the language they like to speak or speaks for them. Also, the holding hands, what was that name? I forgot what that, what campaign was that? Us holding hands campaign. What was that? I'm gonna look this up right now. What was that? Hands Across America campaign. I believe the reference to the Hands Across America campaign represents bridging the gaps of privilege in society, whether it be due to race or social class, because the people up top were privileged and the people below were not privileged. The scene where the events of the upper world and the rabbit hole, the underworld, where they were mirroring each other. At the top, you had Adelaide she's at the carnival at the fair. She's eating cotton candy. People are eating food and good food and having fun. Below in the underworld or the tether world, the other Adelaide, she's walking and mimicking the same movements and same dance moves as the real Adelaide at the time, but she's eating rabbit food. She's eating she's not living a good life. She's not. And it kind of made me think about people, like a reference to the people that are higher up in society, the people who are higher up in society, they eating filet mignon and all this great food. And then you have people of the lower class people who eating scraps, eating ramen noodles, things that really are rendered not really healthy for us to consume in a huge fashion. But those people consume it so much because that's all they have. I kind of thought about that when I saw that part in the film. Maybe, I'm reaching, but that's what I thought about. Also, what did I say? The doppelganger Adelaide represents America. I think, it represents, Americans in a certain sense. No, it does. It really does. It represents how we, and I say we because while I didn't have the privileges that I didn't have all the best privileges. We lived in sometimes harsh conditions with no heat in the winter and, not enough food in the house sometimes and eating noodles and stuff like that. But at the same time, we were privileged in the fact that we didn't have certain conditions that other people had. Some people had it worse. So I think the doppelganger Adelaide represents Americans who, or us as Americans, the people we don't care about. We often kind of put this in the back of our mind. There are people in the world who work in sweatshops for probably 35 cents an hour. And we don't care about it because their efforts mean we get to live in luxury. We don't care about what happens to them. We don't care about that they got to pay bills just like us. They got to make a living with this money just like us. And, they got children to care for just like we do. But we don't care that they getting paid scraps and pennies. As long as whatever they can do for us, it results to us living in luxury. So if unfortunately the privileged benefit from the lower class staying lower class, essentially. And that's what the movie points out. But unfortunately, this is a warning, because this type of lifestyle, this type of keeping the lower class and not caring about them and not caring about what happens to them could cause them to resent us as a people, resent us, and possibly try to overthrow us or lead to a revolt instead of working together, instead of all of us working together to resolve issues of inequality. And that's what I got from the film, man. Again, it's beautifully written, man. I kind of got jumbled up on my thoughts, but those are the things that I wrote down, like stuff that I gathered in the film, man. And I feel like I should have been noticed a lot of the things that was happening in the film itself. Like, I'm like, man, why did I not notice that wasn't the real Adelaide? Specifically when they went down to, like, when she came in, when the son got taken. And when she came in and she went into the fun house and opened doors and went down to a secret tunnel, I didn't never think, how the heck do she know where this tunnel is to go down? And where did she know that it was a door behind this door to lead down to the underground and all that? Where did she find this stuff out at? It's like, I'm thinking in my head, how did she know this type of stuff? But I should have put these clues together a long time ago. Then you got other individuals who feel like the boy was taken. They feel like the boy was switched out too. And I kind of can't think about that. I can think about that theory, and I entertained it. And I said, maybe is that how when he pointed to the clock and it said 11:11, it was references to that Jeremiah 11:11 verse. And I'm like, well, maybe he know what's going on some type of way. Maybe he did get taken out because maybe he did get switched out himself because he knew what was going on in the film. Maybe that did happen to him. But then it's like, I don't know. Really, I really don't know, because like, I don't know, man. It's like the look he gave his mother at the end of the film, like he was shocked. He knew something was off with her. And he looked like he was nervous about it. Even at the end of the film, she like, everything's really, when she started growling and all that, when she killed the real Adeline, who we thought was a fake one, but she killed the real Adeline and started growling and making them noises like the tethered do. And she started smiling and all of that and seeming absolutely weird. She was like weird, super, super weird. She even started to talk in a robotic voice. Everything's gonna be all right. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with her? And the boy was looking at her like, she crazy. You crazy. What's wrong with you? But I had to think, he probably saw all that stuff happening while he was in that little locker, had slits in the door, I think. And he heard her. She probably like, my mama is crazy. Something wrong with her. This is not the real her. So I'm like, I don't know if he got taken out or not. But then you can argue, was he taken out because, was he switched out because it was certain things that was like, where did you get that word from? He was saying new vocabulary words. And I know what y'all thinking. The tether didn't talk. So how would he know new vocabulary if the tether didn't talk? But if he was a tethered individual living amongst the real Adeline who already knew words, it's possible that he did have a certain type of vocabulary. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, and maybe people are just reaching with that theory in itself. But I should have known that I should have known that the Adeline in the upper world, or at the top of society, I'm gonna stop saying the upper world, at the top of society wasn't the real Adelaide. When it was weird. She was telling her son to get on beat, and she couldn't get on beat at all. It was like she was just off rhythm, like she never heard a rhythm in her life. Like, there was certain things that was weird. Like when she was talking to the friend that they had, the white lady, she was talking to her and she was saying, I don't talk much. She was very brief with certain things. And even when she was referencing the fact that she was ready to go, something was happening, she knew something was going on, too many coincidences lining up, I thought maybe she's freaked out. But she had inflections in her voice at that time. But inflections happen when people are scared as well. So it just made me think, man. The movie had me thinking for real, heavily. Like, and this is also something that I was thinking about too, man. Why, like, that fact about underworld, these tunnels being underground in the world, and I'm like, that sounds like a really true fact. That's true. That sounds like a really true fact. There's tunnels all under the world, tunnel systems all under the world, and we don't know what they use for. So it's like, it made me think, like, what the hell is really going on in society? These movies make you really trip out. It make you think. It really does make you think, man. And I'm like, it's certain clues that I feel like, man, I'm gonna go see the movie again so I can catch certain things. But yeah, though, like, also the other tethered people, like the white family, their tethered people killed them instantly. Adelaide's tethered people, that family, I think they were the Wilsons or something like that. That was the family's name. But their family, they held them hostage and made them suffer. And I feel like that was due to the real Adelaide wanting to make her suffer, to recognize that the people below in the rabbit hole are suffering every day while she gets to live in comfort. And she switched her out. She switched the real Adelaide out and make her live in terrible conditions while she gets to live in luxury. So she says, okay, I'm going to make you suffer for all the times I've been down suffering below. But it was other parts I was thinking about too in the film. Like, why didn't they ever just come? Why it took them so long to come up? Why they just didn't come up the escalator? But I'm thinking maybe Adelaide was the only person that knew that was the way to go back up, because she was original. She wasn't in a trance like the other people were down below. She knew that she came from up there at the top, because she got drugged out and switched out. She wasn't a tethered for real. So I don't know, man. It made you think, man. Let me see if they're family, man. Us family. Us movie. Was that the Wilsons? Gabe. What's the name of the movie? I think they were the Winstons or something like that, man. But it was also strange too at some points with the father. The father was letting the mother handle all the business. Our mom will be all right. She fine. And maybe because he was banged up or something, I don't know. And he was hurt at certain times in the movie. But yeah, man, Jordan Peele did an amazing job, man. This movie is a reflection, I think, of the state of the United States a lot of times. Or the world itself, but really the United States with the us, U.S., and how people forget about the lower class citizens and how society benefits from the lower class citizens still being at the bottom. And it shows how that they don't care about the lower class as long as they're living in comfort and convenience in some type of way. And again, it was a story about what could happen when the oppressed revolt or fight back. Man, powerful movie, man. Powerful movie. I'm going to go see it again, probably on Tuesday, to probably just catch some things I didn't catch before. But I was thoroughly impressed, man. I gave this movie a 9 out of 10. 9 because it was some points of humor, and I was like, should they really be trying to crack jokes right now? Or maybe those jokes were used as a distraction to not get us to gather what was happening in the plot until the end. Like, they kept showing the scene. Like, first of all, that scene where that girl's walking down the hallway with the real Adelaide trying to drag her down there and keep her down there where she was at, and she's coming back up to society as if she was the real Adelaide when the way she was looking. It was so creepy. I was like, oh my, look at her face. She looks creepy as all outdoors. And what other scenes I was talking about? Oh, I was thinking, like, when is this scene going to happen when the fake Adelaide chokes the real Adelaide? Where was that going to happen? But it came at the end because it was a big, big cliffhanger, a big surprise. She was never the real Adelaide. That Adelaide was gone years and years ago as a little girl, which is why she couldn't talk. And then I was wondering, why was the real Adelaide, her voice was so crazy and inflected and all of that. Why did she sound like that when she was talking to them? Because she sounded like she was a tether. Like, I'm like, why she sounded so robotic? But maybe it's because the tether version of Adelaide choked the real Adelaide before she dragged her down there. Probably to choke her, to take her voice away so that other people wouldn't notice that she was different and didn't notice that the switch occurred. So she's like, okay, I'm going to render this girl voiceless and leave her down here and handcuff her to this bed. And I'm going to go live her life in her place. And I'm going to get all the luxury that I've been missing out on. I'm going to get that luxury. But at the same time, she forgot about the people that was down below. And when she saw the little boy burning up in the fire, the one that was her son, that was a tethered version of her son, she saw him die. Those things affected her because she was once them. And she realized that could have been me. And in society, I think it makes us think like when we see people that are homeless, that are suffering, we think they could have been me. We got to think about that's us. It is us. The doppelgangers also represents that at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We're our people. The things that separate us are experiences and the circumstances in our lives. Ultimately, the circumstances in our lives can lead to us living a privileged life or a lower class life. So, great job, Jordan Peele, man. I know I rambled and did a lot of talking on this video, but I had to get these things out, man. What else did I miss? Oh, it's ironic that I didn't think about this too. I said the handcuff thing, the handcuff scene. The girl got handcuffed down in the dungeon or in the rabbit hole to be kept down there. And yeah, I didn't think about it. When the real Adelaide came back up, she made her handcuff herself to the table. As if like, look what you did to me. I'm gonna do the same thing to you, and I'm gonna watch you suffer. Rabbits. I'm trying to make sure I made that fact about rabbits cloning. Cloning. Were rabbits the first? Yeah, they were the first creatures cloned. First creatures cloned. So I believe, yeah. I don't think I'm looking at that. I think I'm looking at that correctly. But yeah, though, man. I think if you haven't seen, well, I would hope if you haven't seen it, you're not checking out this spoiler because I'm releasing some spoilers like it ain't nothing. But yeah, man. Great movie, man. Great. I'm interested to see what Jordan Peele is going to do with the Candyman movie. Is he going to tie social commentary in there? Is he going to have deeper meanings behind things in Candyman? Even though we know Candyman is just like a basic horror, not a basic, but yeah, like a classic slasher horror film. What is he going to do with this movie? How are these things going to, what is going to play out in this film is going to be different than what we usually see. Man, great movie. I'm going to go see it again, y'all. did I forget anything else before I leave out of here? Yeah, I think that was everything that I had, y'all. Y'all go check out Us. It's in theaters now. 9 out of 10. Great job, Jordan Peele. Peace.